Hey, good evening, everyone. It's CJ. Hopefully, my mic is coming through. I was having a little bit of difficulties with it earlier today. So, if someone could message me in the comment section that it's working, I'd greatly appreciate that. But hey, want to kick off. This is OMC3. In case you haven't in case you've been asleep, you've been awake tonight. Everyone knows that there's been major events unfolding. Here, I was all planned for a chill out night. I was getting ready to watch the Many Saints of Newark. I had some Buffalo Trace whiskey that I was sipping on and ready to relax, and then boom, all of a sudden, some things transpired. Hey, what's up? I want to welcome those jumping into the stream. Sky Queen, good to see you. Crypto King, always good to see you, brother. Very good debate tonight with Richard and also with Pete. So I watched most of it. Would be interesting to get your comments and your feedback on it. Revolutionary Bliss, welcome, Jan. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, the link is in the description if you want to join the convo. Now, just to let everyone know, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the Gadfly Multi-Channel Network, I will have London Paul to break down and to go into great details in regarding this. What's up, Chi-Town Biker? No more poking the bear. That's absolutely right. So yeah, so in case you, I'm sure everyone is fully aware. That's the reason why we're doing this live stream. But again, I want to take a step back just for a moment because everyone's going to be very quick to place blame on Russia and Putin, but I would really think that we need to scale back a little bit and really kind of talk about some of the events that unfolded leading up to this, and one of which was a very open, transparent letter that Russia had presented to the United States, to NATO, in regards to their request. And that request specifically stated that, listen, that we did not want Ukraine to become a NATO member. We also didn't want any offensive weapons to be placed in the Ukraine. And we wanted to ensure some security sovereignty for Russia and negotiate those as a path forward. Now, granted, there was a lot more to it than that, but that was the main substance of that letter. Yes, he was very clear, Revolutionary Bliss, very clear, very transparent. And if that letter, if NATO, the NATO members, the United States would have taken that letter, seriously. What's up, Moderna Rose? Good to see you. Taken on that seriously, perhaps this could have been avoided. Perhaps if the United States would have properly really evaluated and again back to Ukraine and their desires to become a NATO member, which are pretty much under NATO and United States direction anyway, right? Let's not pretend that they're not. That this could have been avoided. But what happened instead? We tried to avoid the entire conversation. We responded with a letter that didn't even address the core and the principles, the arguments, the items that were listed in the letter that Russia had presented. What did we follow that up with? We followed that up with many attempts by Macron, with the UK to try to broker some type of negotiation to take place. And in the meantime, what happened? Many countries, including the United States, continue to send massive amount of weapons, into the Ukraine, arming up the Ukraine army. And so again, this potentially really could have been avoided. And it was one of my fears, not necessarily fears, but one of the things that happened was that I just, again, had this funny feeling that once Russia went in, they would go all in. They would have no choice at this point. Just looking at how the whole situation, the crisis was being managed, that there was obviously no clear direction. There was no leadership in regards to really, the conversation. It was more threats. It was constant threats. So we will sanction you to death. We will do all those. Good to see you, Celeste, as well. Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here. Just, again, more open threats. Just really continuing poking the bear, continuing, this narrative that Russia's dead wrong. Well, we're gonna kill your pipeline. All these threats. And where did it get us? Absolutely nowhere. Now, if you look at social media, look at Twitter, everyone's talking about the whole Biden Trump thing, right? Like And there's definitely some substance to that. There's definitely some credit to go in regards to the U.S. and our energy, independence. So there's some, definitely things about that. But in terms of the what was at stake here was the complete lack of the way that the United States State Department and this administration handled the situation. Is really no different than Afghanistan, right? Here they had a chance to really, kind of, revive themselves to have some confidence, but instead they took a route that, hey, we want to look brave, we want to look bold, we're gonna show the world who we are. Yes, we're gonna look at those commodity prices here in just a moment because they're skyrocketing right now. But yeah, so that's where we currently are, and that's where we've landed. There was a complete breakdown. And then, as I mentioned in the previous podcast 2 nights ago, whenever we had this urgent meeting, that the security people were coming together. I don't think Russia attended it, but what did we do? We sent Harrison, who has absolutely no foreign policy experience at all. It was strictly done because of politicizing, try to politicize and have her go and be reflected upon some position of leadership to put her on the world stage and saying, look at the confidence that we have in her. And I guarantee she probably demanded it. She probably wanted to go and be that. And instead she offered very little or any type of substance to the conversation. Definitely nothing tactical in her speech. So that's where we are. That's where we've landed, and it's very unfortunate. So for the Russian people there in Ukraine, for the Ukrainian people, I'm sorry. I hope that there's not a major loss of life. War. This is not a pretty thing, but unfortunately, sometimes, I've said this numerous times, violence is an necessary evil. Sometimes it does resort to that when the conversations break down. It can't always just be pretty and clean. That's just not real. We in a fake believe world, we'd like to pretend that escalation, that violence doesn't happen, or we can do something different. But again, it's the purpose of there's resolution to it. So everyone is aware of what took place tonight. We did have Putin come out and say, hey, we're going to have a special military operation take place, primarily really to provide some relief to those areas and to really take out the airfields in Kiev. Now, interestingly enough, Marco Rubio knew that would be Russia's first step prior to leading up to it, which again, their goal is to really de-escalate things. And Putin was very firm, again, very clear and concise in his words tonight. And he asked specifically a few things. He said, listen, we're not going in there to occupy. We just have to ensure some safety. We have to, if we're going to have peacekeepers in, we need to ensure we've been requested to provide this type of assistance to them. And what happened? Again, they're going in and they're stating numerous things that he's going to continue the escalation, keep going. And if NATO and the United States keeps doubling and tripling down with their stupidity, Putin's not going to have a choice not to do that. He doesn't want to, continue to kick this can down the road 10, 15, 20 years and have it, just all the time become this major issue. So again, getting back to it and going back to his request in there, he specifically said, hey, listen, if you're, with one of the neo-Nazis, if you're with the Ukraine, we ask this, we're going to give you the opportunity. We want you to lay down your arms, go home, go be with your families, and you will be allowed to do so. But if you stay and fight, you're going to be met with a force that you've never dealt with in your entire life, basically stating, hey, you're pretty much dead. And for some reason, I think Biden's probably, or I'm sorry, that Putin's bite is probably significantly larger than his bark. So I think there's no reason to question that. So we are seeing multiple feeds come in. You can find themselves now. The UN Security Council did have an urgent meeting, and ironically enough, and it's crazy this, but the president of the UN Security Council is actually Russia. So they're saying, hey, you need to relieve yourself of your seat. And I would love, again, for those that are tuning in, that are just here, the link to join me in the stream is there. I'd love for someone to jump in, provide some commentary on what you're seeing, what your thoughts are. Lots of information coming out. It's tough to stay on top of it and look and analyze all of it that's coming out. but there are multiple streams, multiple channels, and I want to bring a couple of these in real quick, just so that you can see these. But I'll put the link. What I'll do is once I bring it up, I'll share the actual link so that way you can go see these cams. And there's a couple of channels that are having live multiple cams. It is daytime there in Ukraine. So again, these things are quickly unfolding. It's definitely an interesting time to be monitoring this and everything that's taking place. They're going to a couple different streams there, and then this page as well, a couple different network. There are also Earth Cam that you can pick up, which is a live feed from Ukraine if you're interested. Now, getting back to this actual Security Council, the meeting that they had, and I think there was a few things that were said that we need to listen to, because again, just getting back to the entire narrative of what's transpiring here, let's play a little bit of this. Let me make sure I have my sound turned on for it. I do. All right, here we go.
Integrity. Russia has been warned repeatedly that they will be alone in this foolishness, that they will be responsible for the innocent lives lost, including Russians maybe, and for the destruction caused in the heart of Europe in the 21st century. If they choose to continue to execute their plans, as everything indicates, they will bear not only the consequences of the war, but also the historical blame and shame of invading a neighboring country when its responsibility as a big country, as a permanent member of the Security Council, calls for it to work and help preserve peace and security, not to torpedo it. We reiterate our support to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders and territorial waters. In concluding, I welcome the presence of the permanent representative of Ukraine to this meeting. I would like to convey to him, to the Ukrainian government and people, that at this most critical moment in their history, they are not alone, and we stand firm in full solidarity with them for their rights to be free and choose who they want to be. I thank you.
Я благодарю представителя Албании за его заявление. И сейчас предоставляю слово представителю Соединенных Штатов.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Secretary General. Thank you for your strong stance and your powerful remarks today at the General Assembly, and for your remarks tonight. Colleagues, a few moments ago, I spoke to President Biden, who asked me to convey in the strongest possible terms his and our steadfast support for Ukraine and support for the urgent meeting this council has convened tonight. Furthermore, he asked me to share that the United States and our allies and partners will continue to respond to Russia's actions with unity, with clarity, and with conviction. We are here tonight because we believe, along with Ukraine, that a full-scale further invasion into Ukraine by Russia is imminent. Tonight, we're seeing the Russians close airspace, move troops into Donbass, and move forces into combat-ready positions. This is a perilous moment, and we're here for one reason and one reason only: to ask Russia to stop, return to your borders, send your troops and your tanks and your planes back to their barracks and hangars, and send your diplomats to the negotiating table. Back away from the brink before it is too late. Last week, the United States informed this council and the world about what we expected to see unfold. We said that Russia would manufacture a pretext for an attack. We have since seen numerous false flag events staged along the lines of contact in Donbass. We said Russia would theatrically convene emergency meetings at the highest levels of the Russian government. We all saw this on Monday with the state televised Security Council meeting held by President Putin, an orchestrated moment in which the Russian government decided to recognize as, and I quote, independent states, unquote, sovereign territory of Ukraine controlled by Russia's proxies since 2014. They literally violated Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity on live television before the world.
I'm going to pause it there. And again, you can go watch the video if you choose to do so. But number one, getting back to the actual thoughts where she says, we want Ukraine to understand that we were with you, that the people of the world and the alliances are with you. They're really empty words at this point, because if we truly were with the people of Ukraine, we wouldn't be in this situation at all. So they're empty words, and I don't understand why they continue to state that when they say that, hey, we want we're going to, that whatever transpired, that there's going to be great force that's going to be met. They're empty words. It's truly, they'd be better off saying absolutely nothing. And hopefully at some point the world will catch on to this and say, hey, this is what's happening. This is the world that we're living, and looking at after what transpired in Afghanistan, and now almost kind of a repeat with the botched handling of this crisis. It's no wonder there's very much a vacuum, a lack of leadership that's taking place. Let me go through some of these comments. Yes, Celeste, I did see that. Yes, definitely. It's heating up there. Texas Tom Payne, glad to see you finally get in the Discord. Sorry it took so long to get you in. The first unit news about this, the West was shelling in response. Is Russia? Never heard that Russia did to necessitate a response. Sounds like the West shot first. Well, they're going to blame it on them anyway. You already heard he said that there were multiple false flag events that were launched by, although there were multiple false flag events, they would provide little to no any type of details regarding that. Clowns at the UN love this. The Great Reset advances via war now. Revolution Bliss, and we kindly request Putin put his shirt back on and get off the horse. That's hilarious. That's awesome. So again, going back to and taking a look at the direct impact of what's transpiring, we are seeing again, and I think Celeste mentioned it earlier, I will try to zoom on this a little bit here. You can definitely see quite a bit of price movement in metals. The again, it just, also you see it also in Brent crude, natural gas. It's very unfortunate because all those things, those commodities are going significantly up, which again is just going to do nothing to continue to hedge inflation, but of which, by the way, that it's directly a result of Putin, the reason why the United States has all this inflation, right? So that's, it's very unfortunate. I think that we will see potentially, I know some analysts have said that we very well could see $150 barrel oil through this crisis, and that's probably about accurate. I think that's definitely a potential where we'll get there. So there'll be opportunities to take full advantage of this to push the envelope. We do have, heading into this weekend, the CPAC does start their meetings this coming weekend in Florida. I have a friend and colleague who was originally supposed to attend, that I was hoping that was going to try to hopefully help and maybe get some commentary, but unfortunately they can no longer make that trip down to CPAC. And I was just very interested, and I put out a challenge earlier today whenever I was on with V, and specifically stated that how many of these neocons will you see actually question the entire narrative in regards to Russia and the Ukraine. Everyone right now is Russia, but how many will analyze to say, hey, you know what, maybe going back, maybe we shouldn't have had the coup in Ukraine, dating back, maybe we should have been more serious about the Minsk agreement and looking to get some of these things resolved many years ago, versus just simply stating and pouting themselves on the back. Now, granted, it's a conservative meeting. They'll take the opportunity to take a victory lap. That's going to happen. Yes, Bill. Yep, absolutely. Gold nearly at 1950. Very well could hit 2000. As it's taking place. I haven't looked at the crypto. Somebody said the cryptos were crashing. Typically, that kind of like Peter Schiff mentioned today, that where am I going here? Sorry, let me get this. There we go. Basically what happens is when you see Bitcoin go up, gold goes down, and vice versa. So if we look at cryptocurrencies, let's add this to the screen. There we go. We can take a look. Yeah, it's just again, I think everything's going to be a little bit volatile right now. Definitely understanding in regards to the commodities of why that's happening, and you are seeing some price movement in precious metals, and again, when that's to be expected, that when metals go up, the cryptos will go down and take a little bit of a hit. But I still think it's still early to tell definitely the direction that this goes. I'm not sure what those in the chat room thoughts are. I want to know, do you guys think that the UN that they will react? Do you think that we will see some type of an escalation there? People on Twitter saying sirens over Kiev. Let's see here if we can go. I don't have any sound for this. I know Luke from We Are Change was tweeting quite a bit earlier, and he has a couple of, I think, contacts with either on Twitter or direct boots on the ground. Looks like Zelensky. This was 14 minutes ago. Let's see. I didn't catch this one. Let's see what Zelensky had to say about this. Let's add this to the stream. So here we go. This is a recent 14 seconds ago. So let's see what he had to say.
Шановні громадяни України, сьогодні вранці президент Путін оголосив проведення спеціальної військової операції на Донбасі. Росія здійснила удари по нашій військовій інфраструктурі та по нашим прикордонним загонам. В багатьох містах України було чутно.
Okay, so we are working. The army is working. He says, don't panic. We are strong. We are ready for everything. We will defeat everyone because we are Ukraine. Good luck with that. Very good luck with that. And if you keep that attitude, it's not going to get pretty at all. I thought there was one other link that Luke had in here. Bear with me for a moment. Okay, so this was 23 minutes ago. I think I already saw this one. Yeah, if you go follow Luke at Twitter, he's posting a lot of these. But you could definitely see that you see a lot of military action taking place, and that's what Putin specifically said, that they're going to take decisive action, and this is the plan. And for those who are there, lay down your weapons, go home, be with your family. Don't put up a fight, because if you do, you won't survive. And I firmly believe that that's the case. Back out of this. Okay, so let's go back. Let me exit the video real quick, because if not, we'll have that sound continue for a minute. There we go. Okay, so going back to the chat room here, let's see here. Let's see here. Spec Ops, if Russia uses hypersonic missiles, it would be very low key, or because if it happens fast, no one will be able to talk about this, and no one was prepared to film it, and therefore lacks camera evidence. I'm sure that's the case. Yes, revolutionary bliss. He did, in fact, call for martial law there. Let's see here. Russia landed in Odessa, and Spec Ops. Okay. Yeah. So again, this is still early going on. It's morning there. I'm waiting on a couple of messages back in regards to a couple of people that were potentially going to jump on the stream and chat for a little bit as well. But you have the link in the description if anyone wants to jump on and provide any commentary or share your thoughts in regards to what's taken place. And I plan tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll probably live stream it. I'll live stream it and then take it down off of public platform, because it will be on the Gadfly. But I will be with London Paul tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I listened to the two podcasts that he put out today on the Sirius Report, and he's right on point. Typically, he doesn't like to repeat a lot of information that comes off the Sirius Report for reasons that people, it's a paywall. It's behind a paywall. But with something of this matter, we will have to delve into something, and he's usually always happy to do that. Let's see here. All right. And let me check my messages and see if they're going to make it. Yeah, it's just a little bit too late. So, okay. Well, again, very interesting evening. I don't think that there's any reason at this moment to spread any fear. Um, any fear that this is going into world war or anything like it, anything like that. But I think at the same time, if you continue to see the arrogance and the ignorance, at this time, I think it's really time for a pause to become humble. But we're not going to see that. We won't see that from the United States or NATO. Why? Because they're all in. I've shared this for many reasons that with this movement that's taken place, Russia equivocally could pretty much put NATO to an end here as far as the momentum and the change, where people are really trying to understand that for the most part, you know, that there's absolutely nothing that good that comes from where point to one area that NATO has been involved with that where what do you want to say, Libya? I mean, Iraq. I don't even know if there's forces there or not, but that's just the level of stupidity that's taken place here. And my fear is that they continue to double and triple down, and they don't need to push this escalation. This is a point where very easily they could all they have to do is just reassure and say, hey, look, we're gonna not allow. We've decided Ukraine doesn't need to be part of the UN, or I'm sorry, of NATO. We've stated that we would not move further east, right up to the border of Russia. But I don't think that's what we're going to see happen. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit short. Thank you all for jumping on and listening in. This is CJ wrapping out another OMC 3. And tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm sure V and I will probably do something in the morning as well. It is now Thursday, February 24th. So I'm closing this one out. Everyone be safe. God bless. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.